And if anyone has a question they would like to ask. I'd like to talk about something that came up today that I think is really important and came up in an email I received from somebody today. And something essential to understand about the nature of this work that we do. Somebody asked me about lineage and what I thought about lineage and all that stuff. And yeah, sometimes I say some things about it and people that, use lineage in a bad way. But look, I have Rudi in my heart. I have Nityananda in my heart. It's my lineage. I have unbelievable respect and gratitude for the teachings these great saints have given to me. And, and my problem is not lineage. My problem is so often in the years I've been doing this work, I've seen teachers sit with pictures of Rudi above their heads and claim that they are part of this lineage, but rarely ever teach anything that gets close to what Rudi taught. Never teaching how to get grounded in life, how to build foundation and, make a spiritual life into something practical on a day-to-day basis. And, when I talk in kind of a quasi-negative way about lineage and people involved in, this is what I mean. You understand? It's not anything to do with the fact that revering, and God knows I would kiss their feet if they manifested right here, Rudi and Nityananda, but using lineage as a way of really controlling people, using lineage as a way of building oneself up when one doesn't really teach anything that gets close to what the teacher really presented in the first place. I mean, we don't live in India, and we don't live in India, hundreds of years ago, and, we live in a world that's incredibly crazy, incredibly tense, incredibly difficult to deal with. Everybody has problems dealing with the kind of craziness we live, the kind of tension that's in the world today. And the development of Rudi's meditation by Rudi, really was probably one of the greatest things presented in the Western world as a way to deal with this kind of lifestyle that we have to deal with every day. And I think it's amazing, it's remarkable. And when people water it down and they make it into something it's not, and they make it into something that is almost like Hindu, yogis back in the 16th century, it's not the same world that we live in. It's not the reason why Rudi developed this meditation. He developed this meditation in order to help people get the strength, the power, the connection with spirit that enables them to live in the world and at the same time to be free of the world. And I think this is an important thing that we all have to understand, because the first thing he taught me was get grounded. It's the first thing. I was sitting in his store. I was a little schmucky kid who, just got back from Europe and, but I was in deep need of a spiritual life. And he starts the whole thing out with bring the focal point of your attention to the chakra below the navel, because that is the very foundation of not only your spiritual work, but of yourself living like a human being in the world. And I discovered, so many people have the picture of Rudi above their head. Very few of them teach this. They teach some version of Hindu mythology, I don't know what, but they have a picture of Rudi above their heads. And that's all right, because I also believe that meditation has its watermark and everybody's attracted to exactly who they're supposed to study with. And a lot of these teachers take a lot of the burden of having to deal with hundreds of people off my shoulders, So I have no problems with it. But I'm saying what I'm really trying to say is this world we live in is a really difficult world. It's probably never been as difficult as the things that people have to contend with today. I mean, there are no little villages, and if you went 5 miles, it was like a 2-day trek, and God was at the center in the church or wherever, the mosque or the temple, and everything evolved. It doesn't exist like that anymore, and God is a manifestation of everything. The temple is life. And we as people have to be able to develop the strength inside to be able to deal with the kind of life that we were born into. And I think that is the key, and that is really the key to lineage, because it's what Rudi taught. It's what he taught me and what I'm trying to teach all of you. And it's very profound. And in order to build a system inside that can deal with this 21st century insanity that we have to contend with every day, you need to develop a chakra system. You need to get grounded. You need to make Shakti, higher energy, practical by the work you do on yourself to bring it down into your everyday life so that your life itself, your living life itself at the center of God's temple. And I think when we learn to manifest this and do it, it becomes, a lineage that goes back, literally thousands of lifetimes, because it's not just Rudi and Nityananda. And although I don't know who Nityananda's teachers were, but I'm sure he had mentors and teachers that trained him, and they go back very far. You connect with that. You understand? And then that energy comes into you. And by the use of the meditation we have learned here, we can make that amazingly ancient energy into something that is of practical use in our day-to-day life. And it's not a goof because people, are, they're yoga, Naga Babas, and they wear this and that and tridents, and this has nothing to do with anything. You understand? It has to do with everybody's unique and personal connection with God and how we can fulfill that connection. And Rudi left us the most amazing technique to be able to do that. And that is my lineage. You understand? That is why I am so devoted to this, because I never found anything in my life that works like it. I mean, hanging out in ashrams and chanting mantras at 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, it's all well and good. And it does work for people on a certain level. But one day you have to leave the ashram. One day you have to leave, the temple. You have to go out into life. And to be able to take something with you into life that has the power to deal with this kind of world that we live in. And to me, the only thing, look, I met a lot of swamis and gurus in my life and all kinds of, and the stuff that people taught and this and that. And some of them were very strong. I met a teacher they called Baba, in southern Rajasthan once, very powerful teacher, but he didn't teach anything. Mm-hmm. His Shakti was strong. And this is the Indian way. The Shakti is strong, and these are swamp gurus and desert gurus, and they live, gypsy lives, and they, like Ramana Maharshi, who lived in a cave for 16 years. The energy is powerful. But the amazing thing about Rudi's work is that he taught something. He gave us something that can truly help us to build a system inside that is strong enough to gain enlightenment in this insane world that we live in. That's the miracle of Rudi's practice. And therein lies the lineage. Therein lies, that energy that goes back thousands of Rudi and Nityananda. And he took that lineage, transformed it into this kind of a meditation exercise that was devised for people that live in the kind of world that we live in. a world of incredible tension, incredible craziness, and probably transcends any kind of tension and craziness that ever existed on the earth, the kind of stuff that people have to deal with today. So basically, this to me is the key and the crux of everything that is passed down to me. And in my heart, there's Rudi, there's Nityananda. I literally take them into my heart and find them in my heart in every meditation class. And that connects me to thousands of years of energy and teachers, that go back really, as far as time goes, But to make it practical, to make it applicable to the kind of life that we live today, I cannot be teaching the way they taught in India, even 50 years ago, 100 years ago. It's just different today. It's different. People need training. They need to learn how to develop an inner life, because one day they all have to be kicked out of the ashram. They've got to go off and do their lives. They've got to be kicked. Even this class, one day you all got to leave to do your life. Doesn't mean we're not connected and, we can sit and meditate with each other and all that, but it has to be an extension into the individuality of one's life. And I never found a teaching. We're not fortunate enough to be reborn as Rinpoches. We don't come back to the earth as Rinpoches. You look, although in today's world, they might find a few Rinpoches living in the Bronx, the way the energy has changed, but none of us are Rinpoches. We all have to work on ourselves. We're given this amazing technique to develop, a connection with God. And I don't frankly understand the rest of it. I respect it and I say, okay, people do what they have to do. And it's not my business, what people do in terms of a spiritual life. It's their business, and I would never interfere with it. And I never would say, you can't do that, because I don't believe that it's either or. I don't believe that I have the only path. I believe whatever works for a person, they should do. Whatever helps you to grow, you do what helps you to grow. You should have a root teaching that enables you to do, this and that. Because as Rudi always said, it's not this or that, it's this and that and that. And you get big enough to encompass everything. Without, if you'll pardon myself, well, I won't say it, without, mistaking, things for a spiritual life that really aren't a spiritual life. That's somebody else's ego, their power trip, their this. There was one guy, he used to do Rudi's work and perform black magic, for God's sake, and had a lot of students, and so what I'm saying is, if you're open to God and you're open and have a real need for a spiritual life, the truth of how to get there will be given to you. It'll be given to you. I hope this is clear, because this is really important stuff, and I get it all the time with this teacher, that teacher. I said, leave me alone. I'm not interested. If you want to study with these teachers, study with these teachers. I'm not in competition with anybody. This, the energy of God is so vast and enormous that, who can compete with all the stuff that goes on in the world? But I think one has to be clear about what they are getting from a situation. And most people are not. Understand, people wear orange robes, they dress in white robes, they dress in, and everybody, oh my God, they're kissing their feet and they're this and that. And, be clear about what people are really giving, what they're really, and there's nothing wrong. I used to walk around in orange robes, for God's sake, years ago, was given an incredible orange robe by Muktananda, beautiful silk orange robe, you know, shocking me, telling me that you will be a great teacher someday. Told me this. And I was this little 27-year-old schmuck, you know, studying with Rudi, you know, you will be, and he gave me this orange robe. And I used to wear it when I would teach classes in Rudi's ashram, the orange robe. And I don't know, I don't know what happened to it anymore. I've moved to so many places that somewhere, somebody has it somewhere in the universe. I don't know where. So it's not the polo shirt, t-shirt, the orange robe, the white robe, the yoga costumes. It's what somebody is offering, what they're teaching, and how it helps you to grow. And does it sustain the growth, what you're learning from another human being? That's the key to all of this. And I used to hear Rudi talk about this an awful lot. He spoke so much about this. And I'm trying to pass this on to you because we live in a very complicated world. And you put Kundalini Yoga into Google, you're gonna get 5,000 or 5 million responses of people that Kundalini Yoga. And, you know, and I always kid around, to me, it's like Italian ice cream, Kundalini, you know? And because you never know what somebody's gonna teach. Is it gonna work for you? That is the key. Does it help you to grow? Does it test you as a human being? Does it really force you or make you go deep enough in yourself to connect with God? And is it a pathway? Is it a technique that truly works to help you do this? It's the reason I do Rudi's practice, because it's done all of this for me. It's the only reason. If it didn't work, I wouldn't do it. I would have tried to find something else. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? So you have to realize that, you know, I mean, I've had somebody tell me that, well, somebody said I have to, you know, I can't study with you if I'm studying with him. And I said, all right, you know, and study with him. But I might want to come back to you, you know? I said, well, if and when you are ready to come and do what I have to teach, and you don't let anything interfere with it, you're welcome to come back here. You know, I'm not here to keep this as a private club. People are welcome to come back unless they do bullshit, and then I'm not interested, you know. But if it's a struggle and this and that, yeah, they're welcome. But I'm not in competition with anybody. As I say, people can study with whoever they want. But when you come to this class, you do the meditation that is being taught in this class. Don't do some other type of meditation when you come here, because it just interferes with the class. When you're in somebody else's class, you do what they have to teach, you know? You don't do this meditation in somebody else's class. Although I must say, I went to Kala Rinpoche and I was doing Rudi's meditation, you know, but there it didn't matter because they really didn't teach any meditation, you know, they taught chanting and whatever they taught, you know, and that enabled me to connect with this incredible soul on such a deep level that it provided me with a Tibetan Buddhist education in 3 days. It was unbelievable what took place. And it was all because of Rudi's meditation practice. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? I hope it's clear what I'm talking about, you know, because this is really important and it really confuses people. And meditation and spiritual practice is not about getting confused. It's about developing clarity of purpose, clarity of mind, clarity of spirit. you know, internal quiet and peace and the ability to see, you know, how what you're doing is helping you get closer and closer to a state of spiritual enlightenment. Does anybody have a question? And I suggest one thing, if any teacher ever tells you that you can't study with anybody else but me, I would suggest getting on your horse and riding into the sunset. Because that person is doing only one thing. He wants power, you know, over you and other people and control. And that's not what this is about. It is not what this is about. It is not what a spiritual life is about. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? Okay. God bless you all. You know, for a very simple reason, your presence here brought this out of me. And this, for me also, it's an amazing teaching. And you being here, doing inner work, opening like this, sitting and working in this way, it extracts these things that are so amazing that I am just really grateful to everybody. I mean it. I mean, it's just something that's a miracle. It took me a long time to learn this, you know, that there's a real marriage between students and teachers, and the demand of the student really brings out of the teacher some great things.
Stuart, I've been
to go to a very high place in himself. So God bless you all. And there'll be a class tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. If you know anybody else that is interested in studying here, you know, they're welcome. This is, again, not a private club. I'm always looking for people that can master this and learn it and hopefully develop it in them. So God bless you all and thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody.
Thank you, Stuart. Fantastic.
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much.